Zac, how does the injury situation stand with players?
I think we're getting through a lot of guys, so right now some guys are still day-to-day. Lucas Patrick's wasn't as severe as we initially thought during the game, so we'll manage some guys through this week. Lucas would be a guy that fits that category. Gesicki would be a guy that continues to be day-to-day right now. He's in good shape. Drew Sample coming out of this game will be day-to-day this week. Again, these are guys that could play this weekend if we needed them to. Trying to think who else fits that category. Miles Murphy, similar. So I think there's a lot of guys right there that nobody that I really expect to extend into next week. So I think we're in really good shape there.
How's Cordell?
Cordell's going to have shoulder surgery, so I expect him to be out the year. But we'll get more information on that. But right now, that's a tough one for him. He's been a guy that's really worked hard for us. And I wouldn't say it's set in stone until you have the surgery, but that's the direction it seems to be headed.
He heard it in practice.
He heard it in practice, yeah. Yep.
That's something, Zac, where the team could use some depth possibly at guard?
We're still working through it. We got guys competing for a lot of the jobs there, and so I'm excited to see how that shakes out over the next 2 weeks.
How's Cody doing physically, and could he get another look back at guard this week?
He is a guy, I think, similar. Held him out that last game just because some guys fighting through injuries and it could set him back. They're important pieces for us moving forward, so we'll see where he's at today and tomorrow, but he can continue to work through it.
Could he get another look at guard?
Yeah, he's still involved in everything we're doing right now.
And then how'd you think of Jalen Rivers' performance at guard?
I thought there were some good things, and there's some things we'll need to continue to improve as the game went on, but I've loved his mindset. I've loved his attention to detail. He's got all the traits and mindset that we're looking for, and so I think that he's getting more and more comfortable in that role as he's played more guard for us.
There was a report that Dalton came to visit with you guys. How was that visit?
Yeah, I probably won't speak on any visitors or anything like that.
What stood out defensively with the first team after watching the tape, Zac?
I thought, some of the things that we saw initially in that first drive, the staff and players did a great job adjusting to, where those things weren't issues for us as we went on. So I'll be excited to get through this preseason and really play real football and do the things that I've seen us do in practice. There's a good learning experience for a couple of the guys that were in positions there that we need to improve at and be better at, because you'll see it again at some point in the year. But again, I like the direction our defense is going, and I thought as that game went on, they played outstanding. It's held them to 3 points, created 2 turnovers for us, helped take command of the game, really starting with Tyson's pick to Barrett's pick, and doing a good job there in the fourth quarter, getting off the field on third down.
When do you plan on making a finalization on who might be that starter at right guard?
I don't really have a date set in my head.
How do you feel about the fact that it's still kind of been ongoing at this point? Is something ideally would have liked maybe had?
Well, we've had guys battling through injuries almost the entire time, so I don't think that any schedule we would have had on would have been able to stand up, because guys have been fighting through different stuff.
Geno Stone and Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, I think both making really good progress, and so we'll see where they're at these 2 days.
Also, day to day, you'd say?
Yeah.
When do you plan to ramp things up with BJ and team? I know he's doing some
Today.
individuals.
Yeah, today would be the first day he starts working in team drills. Today is going to be very limited. We played 2 days ago. I had grand plans when I did this a couple weeks ago, and then I've scaled way back after seeing the team today and kind of what they went through. So as I say that, he was scheduled to take live team reps. We've taken away all the live 11-on-11 reps today, so it'll just be jogged through when you see him out there. But the plan was to get him in there for the live reps today.
Will the play of the first team defense in the first 2 preseason games impact whether you'd play them in the third preseason game?
No.
Play on any starters playing?
I'm not anticipating any starters playing.
Does Joe lobby pretty hard to maybe get that? It sounded like he wouldn't mind.
I haven't talked in depth with the players about this third game. I've talked to Joe. I haven't specifically told these guys they're not playing, but they're not playing.
Zac, I know you're not making any final decisions right now, but is there anything else you need to see from Mitch Tinsley? Based on what he's done already.
I want all these guys to continue to be consistent all the way through the bell, and he's had a tremendous camp up to this point, and so just continue to work hard, and we'll just keep going from there. But really impressed with, again, all the things we've stated in here before. You got to see it live and in color on Monday night, and happy for guys that just continue just to do things the right way and create the opportunities for themselves, and those plays happen. And Mitch is a guy on the big stage where that occurred, but there's a lot of guys, that don't always get to touch the ball that I think have continued to progress that way too, and maybe too many to name at this point.
How do you feel like Demetrius Knight has played in the preseason games specifically? So
Yeah, well, I think there's learning to be done for him, but he's had an outstanding camp and a guy that we're really excited about. The room as a whole, I think, has only gotten better over training camp, where there's a lot of really good players in there, and it's a room that's created a lot of depth from the top to the bottom, and I'm really excited about it. And Demetrius is a guy that really sees something once, and you make a correction, and the next time he's lights out. And so his improvement's just going to continue to be through the roof for us. I'm really excited about where he's at this point in camp.
you positioned him as the starter really throughout. Is that still the view that, or is that a competition in your mind for somebody like Barrett or some of this to step?
I think guys earn opportunities, and so again, I think Barrett and Warren had great games, and we're always going to be looking for roles for all these guys to play, and so nothing's ever. I'm not trying to create some sort of controversy here. Everybody's just trying to find roles that we can utilize them, and guys have earned roles, and so we'll just continue as the season progresses to see how we want to utilize everybody, but. What you do is you sit in here and you got a really good group of linebackers that you're excited to use, and they've all earned opportunity, and they've all had great practices, and the games have really shown a lot of guys in a positive light, and just excited for that room moving forward. I feel really good about it.
What's the biggest way this roster is better than it was a year ago this time?
I feel good about where our team's at right now, and so again, I'm excited to get through the preseason and go play games because I see what I see in practice, and so I'm just really excited from top to bottom about a lot of the players that we have.
Bill went through and you really made it a point to address the spine all the way through from the middle all the way to
Address the what?
the spine, the whole team, especially in the middle of the offensive line all the way kind of through that
Okay.
front seven. Why was that such a big point of emphasis after last season? Why is that so important? I should say.
You're talking about the interior line, the interior D line, and the linebackers. Yeah, that's just I felt like where we need to address. So the guard spots, we went and found guys that we felt like could come in and compete. D tackle wise, that's just where our hole was. We had one leaving free agent, so we went and got TJ, and he's been great for us. Then we're counting on these guys in the second years to step up as well.
Obviously, you find out about Cordell. Obviously, you talked about how well he's
Yeah.
handled everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a hard one because he's been a guy. He's been a starter for us. He's been a backup for us. All he's ever done is come to work and try to be the best Cincinnati Bengal he can be, and just not always agreeing with what we're doing. In terms of him not being a starter anymore, but he just handled it in such a professional way and just been a team player through and through. And that's what he's been his entire life. And so any player that has an issue like this, where it's a surgery that's going to, be a significant hit to them, you never want to see him go through. But Cordell just feels a little different because of what he's given to us and his approach every day. And you want everybody to have that same approach. And so that's difficult news for him to have to deal with.
You mentioned with the defense being optimistic with what you've seen in practice. When there have been the preseason performances there have been, is it important to make sure the group goes into the season being optimistic, being upbeat, kind of?
Yeah, we are. I absolutely think that we are. It's again. I've never read too much in the preseason. I mean, if we read into the preseason, Jamar wouldn't have played it down for us. And that was. I still go through my notes on how we felt on August 18th about some of the rookies we've had in the past and the growth that they've shown over the end of training camp and once the lights come on in games and they play a full 70 snaps and what that does for them as opposed to playing 10 snaps. And so I'm just really excited about the direction of the defense. I think there's a lot of positivity there. We believe in everybody on this team and excited to get through this last preseason game and then go play for real.
I know it was a small sample size, but what do you think of Dax in his first return to game action?
It's good. I think it's just good to get him back on the grass, and he's been doing well in practice. And so for him to it's more for him just to get out there and feel what it feels like again to play in a game-like experience. And so excited to get him back in the mix there.
Would you say there's less stress, or, I guess, significance applied to the preseason nowadays in evaluating a roster than training camp performance? It seems
It's a balance. It's a balance of how you've seen guys practice, how you see guys perform in the games. Sometimes if you're looking at the depth of the roster, it can be maybe they're not always in the best opportunity in a game to get the showcases, so you can find ways to highlight it in practice to really assess those guys. It's a balance there, and the roster is expanded now, so there's not the cut downs where guys were maybe battling earlier. There's one big giant cut at the very end, and you're keeping 16 on the practice squad. So you're saying goodbye to fewer players, and so the opportunity now is still there. Not only is the practice squad expanded, but the standard elevations have popped up. And so now there's an immediate opportunity for players actually playing games on the 55-man roster and not have to risk being cut after the elevation like it used to be. So the vision of training camp and how you evaluate the roster has really evolved over since COVID. And
It doesn't seem like you're overly concerned about preseason performance as opposed to how a player might perform from the beginning of training camp or OTAs.
We want to go out there and shut down every offense we play in the preseason and score a bunch of points on. But an overreaction to 5 to 10 plays, you're not going to get that from me. I can promise you that.
Has Fairchild's play in the 2 preseason games added to the belief that it's not going to be too big for him as a rookie?
Yeah, and then there's going to be things he hasn't seen yet from our defense and other teams. There's some vanilla looks we've gotten from other teams, so there will be that element as we get into Cleveland and Jacksonville and so forth of things that we're seeing full speed for the first time because that's unique to that defense. And so it'll be how quickly he can adapt all that. We'll see what type of player he can potentially be for us.
Will Browning go Saturday or just Ritter and Thorne?
I'm not ready to answer that question yet. You'll see a lot of Desmond, and Peyton will get in there as well.
You saw the plan that you had for Joe Burrow laid out in the preseason. Did you get everything you wanted out of what he got in those 2 games?
I do.
The biggest positive he took from it?
Well, I think just being out there and leading not only that first group, but then we sat the receivers down, a couple of the guys, and Chase down, and he got a chance to throw the touchdown to Charlie and work all those different guys and get in there with Taj and work with Taj too. So I think there was a lot of benefits there. Led us on 4 touchdown drives and 5 possessions, and really the 5th possession, we got called for an illegal procedure, a neutral zone infraction, which I'd like to argue with a little bit. So that one set us back and derailed that drive, but I thought overall it was good work for him.
What did you say that touchdown pass to Charlie?
It was really good. That's been a core concept for us for a long time. A lot of reps there. Really threaded the needle on there. The protection was outstanding. He had a chance to go 1-2 to Charlie coming across on the 3rd progression, and so I thought it was really good execution on a play that we've repped a million times. He's thrown that route to a bunch of guys over there. I'd actually be curious how many touchdowns and how many different receivers he's thrown on that route. That would be a good stat for you, Charlie, if you can go back and document all the training camp reps. So.
What does it say to when Joe is so adamant that he wants to get as many reps as you'll let him get, and have a team that has the aspirations you want? What does that say when the quarterback is that adamant about?
Well, it's the things I have to come to grip with as the coach are you can't live in fear. You can't think, oh God, if we walk on the field, someone's going to get hurt. You just can't. You can't operate that way. That's a horrible way to live your life. And so you got to go out there and play football and trust that guys are going to protect themselves and understand the situation. And but it's good to go out there and feel. I feel further along as a team right now than I did last year because these guys have played in 2 preseason games. I feel better about it. Now, I didn't always know what to compare it to, but I do. After letting our guys get out there and experience it and do good things and make mistakes that we have to correct, I feel better, going into the early parts of the season than I probably did a year ago.
The 3 series that Joe had, how did you feel about the offensive line?
Really good. I thought the protection was outstanding, and there's a tricky situation where he scrambled backwards, and we've made a big emphasis on crackback blocks and blindside blocks because linemen have been penalized over the years for those shots they take. And so our guys got caught in a tricky situation that we were able to educate them on how we can avoid the penalty and still impact the play. So it was ended up being a strange rep. That was a very coachable rep for us in a lot of ways, from scramble rules beyond the line of scrimmage that you couldn't even probably see to how the whole thing got handled. So that was a quirky rep. But aside from that, I thought it was really good protection. Multiple backs got the chance to protect. Taj, Samaje, Noah got in there one time on a protection play where he was running back in the backfield. So it was really good stuff for our entirety of our offense.
The play you mentioned, how important is it for Dylan and Lucas especially? They haven't played with Joe. If Joe's going to do that, he's going to go off script.
Correct. Yeah, correct. It's in their eyes, he was about to run past the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden he was going the other way, and so now you're back in it. So, but it is good. We've all seen countless times where we've had huge explosive plays on those extended scramble plays, and so everyone's got to be available to help him continue to extend the play, and receivers got to do a great job getting in phase when it does turn into scramble drill. And then Joe's got to understand the situations where we want to do that, where we just want to continue on with the play and punt if we have to.
With Dax getting back to live action on Monday, is that something where you think at this point by week 1 you should be good to go on a full
I do.
load? Or
Dax Hill?
Yes,
I do.
Dax Hill.
I do. He's been on a great trajectory. Feel really good about where he's at. We probably protected him more than anything over the last couple weeks, but I feel really good about where Dax is at.
Since Al is a new NFL defensive coordinator this year, have you kept things even more vanilla than usual in the preseason? I mean, I know it's always.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just what our identity is on tape. There's no reason to put it out there right now. And that will change in years going forward once it's all evidence in a long season. But right now, there's just no need to do that.
How would you characterize, if you went back and looked at your notes on Chase Brown from, August 20th last year
Yeah.
to now, how would you characterize his progress, Chase Brown?
Well, I'd say he absolutely improved as a pass protector. The nuances of it, the technique of it, the eye progression of it has improved over the early part of last season, all the way through last season, and now you feel outstanding about it. And so, and then I think he's always been a really good runner for us, so it's hard to say how much improvement there's been there because he's always been really good. I think as a route runner and as a receiver, and understand, not just, when I say route runner, not coming out of the backfield on choice routes and all that stuff, splitting out as a receiver and having a real understanding of what our receivers go through and what Joe's going to see. He's become really valuable in that way. And Samaje's always been that for us as well, not so much getting him out in space, but as a check down. And I'm seeing that from Taj. Even the clip that Taj got called for the neutral zone infraction, just his release is a very small detail that's critical to the concept. And he did a great job outside releasing a cloud corner and creating space for the stick route inside. And so I just think Justin Hill's done a great job articulating the vision for all those guys as receivers, protectors, and runners. And we've got a really good room there that I'm really excited about.
And that call was the one on Taj. It was where he lined up.
Yes. The penalty was that he lined up in the neutral zone.
Coach, you look at Evans driving the ball very well. Looks like he's bounced back from the injury. You feel like he's right in his stride, right in pace where you wanted to be for opening day? I do.
I think he's had a really good training camp. We have a lot of confidence in him. And so, again, I think he did a good job knocking through the one that he got the opportunity on. So I'm happy with the direction he's headed.